The Africa Cup of Nations still going on here in Morocco, and we are at a stage where you don't need to blink. Otherwise, you're going to miss. We started with the group stages, and we saw at the levels of the teams at that stage, the likes of Botswana, likes of Uganda, shockingly Gabon, were the teams that were eliminated at that stage. Then at the round of 16, of course, no shocks yet. Almost every team that is destined to win has been winning their games, but not without being closely contested, save for the game between Mozambique and Nigeria, where Nigeria showed a lot of firepower on and off the bench. They looked the side that for me at the moment should be having the favorite tag. Of course, Morocco being hosts still have that tag alongside teams like Senegal. And of course, you cannot take away anything from Mohamed Salah's Egypt. But now is the stage where I believe the men are going to be separated from the kids. Brahim Diaz has been doing so well for Morocco, one of the top players that could be competing for the MVP gong. But then there is Ademola Lookman. When he doesn't score, he makes that assist. In that game against Mozambique, for me, he was the difference, opening the scores and then setting up 2 goals. They have a lot of people that can play like him, but of course, the levels are different. When you see Moses Simon and Chukwueze play, especially against Uganda, you feel like Ademola Lookman may not be missed. But then he comes up against Mozambique and he shows the difference between him and those 2 players. Then we get to Brahim Diaz. In a game against Tanzania, where you felt like Tanzania had done everything to keep him quiet on that right side of attack alongside the returning Ashraf Hakimi. He gets that one chance and fails the keeper because I would say the keeper thought he was going to cross that ball. But at near post, he wins it for the Atlas Lions. They've not won this title for so long, close to 40, 50 years. So the pressure is on them. The fans, the crowd, everything, every mistake they do is scrutinized. So it's going to be tough for Morocco. But then they have Brahim Diaz. He's shown that he scores a goal per game. And if maybe he had taken that penalty in the opening match against Comoros, he could be with 5 goals at the moment. So Ademola Lookman, of course, Ademola Lookman, Brahim Diaz, and then Riyad Mahrez did not look so good in that game against DR Congo, where he was substituted for Anis Musa. But when he's on the pitch, you see class. Same as Mohamed Ademola, the number 18 for Algeria as well. One that runs tirelessly at defenders. He doesn't give them time to breathe. He doesn't give you time to think. Very short, but one of the players that for me has caught my eye. And of course, the big man, Victor Osimhen, scores when Nigeria needs those goals. And besides scoring, he's a player that can also show the other side of the game by creating opportunities for the others. Talk about Cameroon, Brahim. Of course, he's not yet scored a goal, but the work rate, the finesse that he brings to those wings. And when the shove came to, when they had to fight to get that result against South Africa, we saw the way he defended, playing as a makeshift left back at some time. So very impressed with him as well. Mohamed Salah, that literally winning goal against Benin, because you never know. At that moment, Benin could have equalized, but then the way he ran past the defender, the way he beat that offside trap to get into that scoring position and putting that ball away, that shows a play of class. What has impressed me most about all these players that I'm talking about is the fact that during previous moments when we had the Africa Cup of Nations in Africa, there were accusations of top players not giving it their all in games for their national teams, but it has been different. Maybe because the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco is a little different, especially when it comes to the pitches. Previously, ngabagamba abo tebayiwawo mubiri for their teams, but now they do it. Diallo, the Man United winger playing for Ivory Coast, has been everything that Ivory Coast needs of him. Cameroon does not have a lot of superstars, but in Mbeumo, and of course, the man of the match in that win over South Africa, Carlos Bareba, you could clearly see a team on mission. So, been impressed with those players, and I don't think the MVP of this tournament will come outside of those. But back to the games. The quarterfinals are here. Very tough games. Algeria is going to take on Nigeria. Now, these are the two teams that won their respective group games 100%. Teams that have always done that rarely get past the first knockout phase. Now they've jumped that. Nigeria is calling for fun. Even when they rested players against Uganda, they scored 3. Against Mozambique, those players return and they show the difference between what could have happened in case they played against Uganda. So for me, one of the toughest games that Nigeria is going to face is Algeria. Algeria are a team that does not concede, and they also get those odd goals to win the game. So close contest, probably where I would give it to the Nigerians because of the physicality and the fact that in that game against Mozambique, they did not give away a lot of chances. In previous games, they did. Remember, they conceded against Tanzania, they conceded against Uganda, 10-man, they conceded against Tunisia, but then they kept the most important clean sheet at this level. So when we come to Algeria, I don't remember the goal they conceded because... So it's going to be a closely contested game there. Then Cameroon against host Morocco. Morocco has not so much impressed, but they've been effective. Against Comoros, we saw they struggled to break the Comoros team, but they won. Against Mali, they faced a team that is physical and also has players that understand the game. The likes of Yves Bissouma, Nassini Sinoyoko, Dumbi and others, and they look to suffer. Even their fans, the Moroccans, bought their team at the final whistle. They come against Zambia, they do well. Against Tanzania, they struggle. Now, they face arguably their toughest opponent in this competition, Cameroon. Short of big names, but not short of quality and desire to win. It's going to be a big test for Morocco. Of course, as hosts, I would love to see them still play until maybe the semi-final. But this game is going to test their mettle. And I won't be surprised if the indomitable Lions get past them and go into the semi-finals. Then Mali, Senegal, a West African derby, a West African affair. Mali has been very resilient. They don't easily concede. They come into a game against Senegal that is fluent in their way they play. Sadio Mane yet to get among the goals, but it's a very good creator of them. Crepin Diaz on the right side of defense can also join in attack. The young Mbaye that came off the bench to score in that previous game against Sudan. So that will also be closely contested, but I believe Senegal, is the team that are predicted to win this title, will go on and win that. Elsewhere, let's wait and see. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. These days in Njogera Luzungu, Luganda njadogera nga tuzeeyeka. Those of KCC, mukuliko gwa police. Thank you for subscribing, liking and sharing.